작지만 강한 경제대국, 창조경제 얘기가 나오면 벤치마킹 1순위가 되는 나라인 이스라엘. 세계 인구의 0.3%에 불과하지만 막강한 글로벌 파워로 세계인들에게 영향력을 주고 있는 유대인들의 원동력은 무엇일까요? 오늘 더 리더에서는 세계적인 엑셀런스 교육 전문가인 이스라엘의 해츠키 아리엘리 글로벌 엑셀런스 회장과 함께합니다. 창의적인 인재를 육성하는 이스라엘의 차별화된 교육법에 대해 얘기를 나눠보겠습니다. Thank you for your time. So, is this first time for you to come to Korea?
No, this is actually my third time.
Your third time. So, yes. It's an honor to have you on our program.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
So, can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Gladly. I come from a very small and unique country in the Middle East called Israel. I am a father of 4 and a grandfather of 7. And I deal with global education for most of my professional life. For many years, for about 15 years, I was the chairman and the CEO of the Israel Center for Excellence to Education. And now I'm the chairman, the founding chair of Global Excellence.
Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit about, a little bit in detail about the company you founded and what it does?
Global Excellence was founded with the aim to provide companies and public sector training for executives primarily, so that they can create an organizational culture of excellence in their companies and organizations. With the understanding that there are very similar challenges that we all face in the Western world and in the open world. And with these challenges, since we face the challenges, we can also share solutions and share experiences. And the idea is to create a very global network of excellence, which is shared between different societies and different companies around the world to advance the world to be a better world to live in.
Yeah, so you now emphasize the importance of excellence. So
Yes.
How do you define the word excellence, and then why is it so crucial to education?
I believe that excellence is the engine of the new world. Excellence, I define it as the will of the individual or of the organization, of the company, of the school, of the government to fulfill their potential.
Fulfill potential.
Fulfill potential, but also the commitment and the passion to fulfill their will. In other words, the motivation to fulfill your potential is very important, is critical. But you need also the commitment to make it happen, to take the extra step.
So you mean the
implementation of it.
Yeah.
In my vocabulary of excellence, there are 10 commandments, I call them, of excellence that are comprising the whole. The whole is excellence, but excellence is comprised of 10 different values that include, for example, motivation and creativity and optimism and curiosity, etc.
Yeah.
That together, if we understand, once we analyze it and we see what they are made of, together they comprise the whole, which is excellence.
Yeah, you just mentioned the positive culture of learning in Jews. So, in order for us to understand your educational philosophy better, I think it would help to hear about some features of education in Israel. So, what are the unique characteristics of Israeli education?
If you're talking about public education in Israel, one of the most unique aspects, I think, of the public education is the dynamics in which the class are taught. Children in Israel are very dynamic, very active. And you can use this activity for the better, to create what we call the brainstorming, the seminar-style teaching, when you use this energy within the child for discussion, for group activities, for interaction between the children, and not numb them down to be sitting all the time like this, frozen, or just recording what the teacher is saying.
Not memorizing.
And not focusing on memorization all the time, but more on developing their learning skills and the thinking process and analytic thinking, because this is in our times much more important than memorizing. Obtaining the information.
Yeah.
There are better ways to do this than in the class. The teacher's job today is to be a guide on the side much more than a sage on the stage, and to provide the students with skills and thinking abilities much more than the data itself. The child needs help in how to sort the data, how to analyze the data, how to inhale and understand the data, how to apply the data into real life. This is more of the focus in the Israeli education.
So, if so, how do you assess the result of the Israeli education? I mean, in terms of the alumni, the active participation in the global economy, something like that.
Israel education, I like to say that is comprised of much more than just a school. The school system is a major component of the child's education process. But there is much beyond the school system in Israel, starting from the family. The family is a major source for education, and we all feel that it's a major responsibility. The number one topic in every Israeli family's agenda on a routine daily basis is education, and we don't expect the school to be the sole responsible agency for our children's education. Beyond the school, we have a whole system of informal education, which is comprised of youth movements. Youth movements in Israel are very popular. Children assume responsibilities and challenges at a very young age. A child at the age of 14 is already can be a leader, a counselor of younger children, and overcome challenges and assume responsibilities and look for solutions for problems that it's his or her responsibility to find. And you move on to the school and then to the army. The army in Israel is also a major resource for emphasizing and strengthening your self-esteem, your conscience, your responsibility, your leadership abilities, your creative attitude towards challenges. If you take all of these components together, this is what I call the educational system, a system that is comprised of those subunits, and you get the most out of them, and don't leave the whole responsibility only for the school. School is important, but it's only a part of the process.
I heard that you've established an institution in Korea in an effort to create educational environment using Talmud abroad.
Yes.
So, could you explain how you use the Talmud method?
As a result of the fact that for many years I have been approached by Korean people to assist in promoting excellence within Korea, I decided that it's time to do something actually in Korea. And together with a Korean company, it's an alliance between Israel and Korea, named IMD Center, we have opened the Institution for Talmudic Excellence, ITE. Talmud is a much more beyond the book. Talmud is an ancient book in Jewish history of 1700 years old, which was written by hundreds of sages and is representing a very, very unique learning and thinking methodology, which is applicable not only to Talmudic academies, but very much to daily life. All of that is part of the learning of the Talmud. There is a valuable concept. For example, which is very basic in Talmudic learning, called Havruta. Havruta, which means pair learning, like two people. Havruta is a unique, if you know how to do this, we teach this, a very unique methodology for mutual brainstorming to create what I call collective wisdom, integrating between two minds that together, through a very interesting process of discussing and argumentation and strengthening your discussion and listening, etc., you are creating a joint mind of two people that is much stronger than the individual mind. And you are reaching heights of thinking and brain operation that you would never be able to reach alone. This is just an example of Talmudic learning and Talmudic methodology that can be and should be, in my opinion, used on daily routine life of managing a company or managing a school or managing a country, for that matter, that can be very effective also in Korea. Now, because in Korea, the Talmud is very popular.
Very popular, yeah.
Very popular.
Yeah, I've learned a lot.
And you learned a lot.
Yeah. So I heard you were the director of the IASA. What does it stand for?
Israel Arts and Science Academy.
So high school for gifted students.
Yes, I was the director of the mother organization of IASA, which is called Israel Center for Excellence to Education. IASA is a very unique high school in Israel, which was established in 1990, which is considered the best high school in Israel, and it is aiming to educate its students to become global leaders in their fields, whether it's in science, in music, in arts, in humanities. It is a school that hosts students from all spectrum of the Israeli society, from rich and poor and poor and central and rural areas from all around the Israeli society. And it's a school that is concentrating on the arts and the sciences with a very interesting integration between them.
Arts and science.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Yes, because we believe, or at the Israel Arts and Science Academy, it's believed that the integration between scientific thinking as well as artistic approach, which is more the emotional aspect of the thinking, together with the whole process of learning of humanities, which is more the Talmudic way, the argumentation, the thought, the emotions involved, the integration between them is the right way of learning. Otherwise, if you study science in a too scientific way without involving the emotional aspects to it, it might be too technical. And if it's too technical, you might be educating somebody to know science, but not to become a science leader. A leader has to have a passion, an emotion, values, in addition to the knowledge of the pure science, which is important. When you're talking about teaching, for example, genetic engineering in biology, talking about such a scientific subject like genetic engineering, which is very relevant to developing times, and you don't involve the issues of moral, ethics, legal, family life, etc., then you might just be educating the child to be too technical on such a wide-spreading and developing issue which the world is dealing with. And that's not the purpose of Israel Arts and Science Academy. The purpose is to really influence and the students to be integrated and advance in tomorrow's challenges.
As you know, this year we have a new Korean administration led by President Park, and is pushing creative economy, and that can only stem from a creative workforce, I think. So what do you think are the weaknesses and strengths of education, of Korean education, I mean?
Korean education, like all other most systems in the world, that are a little bit, I would say, slow in keeping up with world changes. The world is changing. The requirements of the graduates, of our students, are different. They are required to know how to be relevant with their skills to the changes of today's world. Much more creative approaches, much more interdisciplinary, covering a wide range of disciplines while solving a problem. Much more innovative in their thinking. And yet, still systems, including Koreans, are providing information more than providing skills. The biggest advice that I can give, if I was asked, the educational system of Korea as well as other countries, is to invest major efforts in training the teachers to adapt their teaching methodologies to the new realities of the world. Teaching methodologies, as I said before, to teach and not to preach, not to lecture to the students, but to create a very active process of interaction between students and teachers to provide them with much more active challenges and to teach very differently than the way they were taught as students when they were students. Time has changed, and we need to know how to change with time. I'll give you an example, a practical example, if we have time. It is a very absurd statistics that we have around the world. How much time usually teachers, including in Korea, would give students, would allow students to think before they respond to a question asked by teachers. Teachers ask questions, and you would expect, okay, a question was asked, how much time would the teacher would give the student to think about the answer? Well, it's amazing, but the international finding is that teachers would give not more than 3 seconds
3 seconds, yeah.
to think. Now, what can happen in the child's mind in 3 seconds? Actually, nothing.
Yeah.
It's not time to think, to process, to inhale, to verbalize.
They
to
just
provide
anticipate quick response, right?
Exactly. So the teacher would provide now the answer, and the child would record it in the notebook. This is not a process of learning that is relevant to our times. People ask me, so how much time do you think teachers should give the children before they respond? 5 seconds? 6 seconds? I say forever. Teachers should not provide answers. Teachers provide tools for the child to find the answer him or herself. Now, if you educate a child in this direction, you are actually telling the child, hey, when you are out from this school, you will be there alone. I'm not going to be there to provide you with answers. You will need to find the answers yourself. Start now. Let's not wait until the child graduates.
Yeah.
Let's provide him with this process and this culture of searching for the answers themselves now. The way we need to do this is to provide them with the tools to find the answers, to find creative answers, to find relevant, productive, effective answers, while searching for their own way and their own path.
Israeli economy is known for one of the best creative, the one in the world. So where do you think that strength come from?
It goes back to what we discussed before, the process,
Education?
the whole education process. As I said, not only the school. Israelis have a term called chutzpah. Chutzpah in plain English means daring. But chutzpah can be done in a negative way, when you are daring to your elderly or not paying enough respect. But chutzpah can also be done in a positive way. You're taking a chance. You are going beyond your abilities. You are daring, and you are challenging your own potential. I think that's a major aspect in Israeli characteristics, in Israeli culture.
So I think the many Korean parents watching this talk show. So, can you some brief advice to them in terms of child education?
Seek for the positive in your child. Every child has a huge amount of potential that can be and should be fulfilled with direct encouragement, constant encouragement coming from the parents in a daily life. Your child can always do better. There are two ways to approach child's behavior. It can be the positive way or the negative way. You can be very angry at a child's mistake, or you can be very encouraging, using the mistake to strengthen the child's abilities. Take the positive road. The positive road leads much more to positive results than the negative road. We tend to yell at the children very quickly. Why did you do this? Why did you spill the milk on the floor? Well, this is kind of a natural reaction, but we should try to hold back for 1 second and wait. Child spilled milk on the floor. Let's see, we can learn and teach the child so much. The child made a mistake, it happens. We spill milk on the floor. Can I use this to empower my child by talking to my child about why this happened? Maybe the glass was not held in the right way. Maybe it was the child was not paying attention. How do you pay attention? Let's talk about the milk. Let's talk about ways to collect the milk that was spilled on the floor. So much positive can come out of this one mistake. But if we treat it in a positive way, seeking to empower our children and not to treat them in a negative, depowering manner. So I like to, this is called the Pygmalion Effect, which I'm very, very, very positive about using on a daily routine life. But if we know how to adapt this process and this attitude, positive attitude, towards our own children, the results would be enormous. Both in immediate life, when they are still young, but much more when they are grown-ups, and they will take all of these positive experiences that they received from home to their real life. This is how they will educate their children, because that's what they learn from their parents.
Yeah, this is last question, my last question. Lastly, what are your plans for the coming years?
Currently, the company that I'm heading, Global Excellence, is already involved in few global projects in different parts of the world, in Israel, in Asia, in Africa, and other parts of the world. And my vision is to create like a global network of excellence in which counterparts, companies to companies, governments to governments, share their experiences on the issue of excellence, which is a very serious and wide and demanded and required issue in the changing world, so that together this network will advance the world to become a center of global excellence around the world. That's, generally speaking, where I hope to take this initiative.
지금까지 창의적 인재를 양성해내는 이스라엘의 교육 방법에 대해서 알아봤습니다. 해답은 가르쳐주지 않고 해답을 찾는 길을 가르쳐준다는 말씀이 강하게 기억에 남습니다. 오늘 바쁘신 방한 일정에도 이 자리에 함께해 주신 회장님께 감사의 말씀드립니다. 감사합니다. 땡큐.